Somewhere right now, a vending machine in Tokyo is selling fresh hot ramen. A hotel receptionist, a robot dinosaur to be specific, is handing someone their room key with mechanical claws. And a public restroom is playing ambient music to give you privacy, while it also pre-warms the seat, cleans itself, and probably has better Wi-Fi than your apartment. Japan is doing things. Extraordinary, slightly unhinged, completely logical things. And after this video, you're going to spend the rest of the week frustrated that none of it exists where you live. These are 14 crazy things in Japan that honestly, genuinely, desperately need to be global. You think you know vending machines. You've used one. You've lost a dollar coin to one. You've been betrayed by one that took your money and delivered nothing. That's the worldwide vending machine experience. A coin slot attached to mild disappointment. Japan looked at that and decided it was unacceptable. There are over 5 million vending machines across Japan, which works out to roughly 1 for every 23 people. That's the highest density of vending machines anywhere on Earth. But the number isn't the crazy part. The inventory is. In Japan, vending machines sell hot canned corn soup, fresh flowers, umbrellas, neckties, live stag beetles in the summer, hot pizza, cold beer, books, bicycle spare parts, and yes, full bowls of hot ramen dispensed into real ceramic bowls. Some machines are themed, some are branded, some look like tiny glowing shrines on street corners. There are vending machines outside rural train stations that sell locally grown produce, unmanned at midnight, operating entirely on an honor system. The whole thing runs on an understanding that convenience shouldn't have a closing time. Unnecessarily genius. Peak Japanese innovation. Now think about the last time you were in a convenience store. At an odd hour. Maybe grabbing something quick. Maybe regretting your life choices at 2 a.m. Definitely not expecting much. In most countries, a convenience store is a place you go when everywhere better is closed. In Japan, convenience stores, called konbini, the big three being 7-Eleven, Family Mart, and Lawson, are a legitimate pillar of daily life. And the food. The food is the part that breaks every assumption you have. Fresh onigiri made daily, hot steamed buns, genuinely good curry, sandwiches with perfectly calibrated egg salad that has an almost cult-like following, soft serve ice cream, hot soups, and matcha everything. But it goes further. Konbini in Japan let you pay your utility bills, send packages, print documents, book concert tickets, and access certain government services. Some locations have small seating areas. They stock everything from medicine to formal wear for emergencies. They are open every hour of every day of the year. In cities hit by natural disasters, konbini have historically been among the first supply points to restock and serve communities. They are not convenience stores, they are infrastructure. Nobody on earth enjoys a bad public restroom experience. That feeling, you open the door, you immediately consider leaving. You wonder what series of choices led humanity here. It's universal. In Japan, that experience essentially doesn't exist. Japanese public toilets, particularly in cities and tourist areas, operate at a level that would be considered premium in most hotels globally. The standard features on a mid-range Japanese toilet, which you'll find in airports, malls, train stations, and many public spaces, include heated seats, a bidet with adjustable water pressure and temperature, a dryer function, automatic lid opening and closing, ambient sound options to mask noise, automatic flushing, deodorizer, and a self-cleaning nozzle. High-end models include air conditioning for the seat area and a function that analyzes your health through the, let's say, data you leave behind. The toilets are also clean, maintained on rigorous schedules, with inspection logs on the back of each stall door. Tokyo even launched a public art initiative called the Tokyo Toilet Project, where 17 public restrooms across the city were redesigned by world-famous architects, including Tadao Ando and Kengo Kuma. The message was deliberate. A public toilet is public space, and public space deserves dignity. The rest of the world is not ready for this conversation, but Japan is having it anyway. Japanese trains are famously, almost obsessively punctual. The average delay across the entire Shinkansen bullet train network, which runs trains at speeds up to 320 kilometers per hour, is under a minute per year, not per trip, per year. When a Shinkansen was 3 minutes late in 2018, the operating company issued a formal public apology. This is not an exaggeration or a charming cultural quirk. It is a system built on thousands of tiny interconnected decisions. Driver training, track maintenance schedules, platform timing boards ACU, rate to the second. and a culture of accountability that starts with the engineers and runs all the way to the station staff. The trains themselves clean between every single run. A team called the Shinkansen Cleaning Crew, the Tessei team, boards each bullet train the moment it arrives at the terminal station and completely cleans 1,123 seats in 7 minutes. Passengers watch them work through the windows from the platform. When the team finishes, they bow to the train before passengers board. They bow to the train. That's not performance. That's a standard of care that most countries haven't figured out how to apply to public infrastructure at all. And here's where we pause for a second. If you're enjoying this, hit that like button and consider subscribing. It genuinely helps tell YouTube that this video is worth sharing, and honestly, the next 10 items get significantly more wild. So stay with us. You've checked into a hotel before. There's a person, there's a desk, you hand over your ID, they type things, you wait, you get a keycard. It's fine. It's a process. Japan has a hotel where the entire staff is robots. The Hen-Na Hotel. Hen-Na literally translates to strange. Opened in Nagasaki in 2015 and was certified by Guinness World Records as the world's first hotel staffed by robots. The front desk is handled by animatronic dinosaurs, a velociraptor in a little hat, wearing a bow tie, who will check you in with startling competence. A humanoid robot assists with luggage. A small robotic arm in your room stores valuables. Facial recognition replaces the key card entirely. Your face is your room key. The whole property runs on minimal human staff, and the concept has since expanded to multiple locations across Japan. Now, full transparency, they did walk back some of the automation after the robots created more problems than they solved in early iterations. But the core idea held, and the refinements they made are now feeding directly into Japan's broader push to address a national labor shortage with automation. They didn't build a gimmick. They built a testing ground. Capsule hotels look, at first glance, like the setup for a dystopian short film. You pay for a sleeping pod, roughly 2 meters long, 1 meter wide, about a meter tall. Slide in, pull the privacy shade, and that's your room. No bathroom of your own, shared facilities, no space to stand. In most countries, this sounds somewhere between camping and a storage unit. In Japan, it's a thoughtful solution to a real problem. Capsule hotels exist because Japanese cities are dense, commutes are long, workers sometimes miss the last train home, and the cost of a full hotel room downtown is genuinely prohibitive for frequent travelers. The modern versions, particularly upscale capsule hotels like 9 Hours, which has locations across major Japanese cities, have evolved into something remarkable. The pods are designed by industrial engineers with serious attention to ergonomics and acoustics. You get a private reading light, a personal ventilation system, USB ports, and a mattress that a lot of people describe as better than what they have at home. The shared areas, bathrooms, saunas, lounges, are often beautifully designed. 9 Hours in particular looks like something Apple would build if Apple made hotels. It solves for the specific problem of needing rest in a city without needing everything else that comes with a full hotel room. Efficient, surprisingly comfortable, and quietly radical. This one seems small until you really sit with it. In most countries, the traffic cone is purely functional. Orange, heavy, occasionally stolen for dorm rooms. In Japan, traffic cones have been given personalities. Some wear little construction helmets. Some have small cartoon faces painted on them. In certain cities, themed cones appear during seasonal events. Rabbit-eared cones around Easter, Santa hat cones in December. There are bear-shaped cones in Hokkaido regions. There are duck cones. There are, and this is real, cones shaped like cats sitting down. Construction zones in Japan, which in many cities would just be orange barriers and irritation, sometimes become small, unexpected moments of delight. And here's why this matters beyond the cute factor. Japan has significant data suggesting that humanized or visually interesting safety markers actually improve compliance. People pay more attention to things that have a character. Kids point at them instead of running past. Drivers notice them more readily. What looks like an unnecessary design choice is actually a small, intelligent nudge toward safer behavior. They turned a traffic cone into a behavioral intervention. Of course they did. Platform safety on train stations across the world is genuinely concerning if you think about it too hard. An open edge, a moving train, a few seconds of chaos. In Japan, most major urban train stations have solved this with platform screen doors. These are full-height transparent barriers that line the edge of every platform, with doors that open only when a train has arrived and is perfectly aligned with the exits. You literally cannot fall onto the tracks. You cannot be pushed. You cannot drop your phone down there and watch it bounce under a moving train. The barriers only open when it's safe to board, and they close before the train moves. Tokyo, Osaka, and most Shinkansen stations have had these for decades. They've been measured as reducing platform fatalities and near misses by over 90% in stations where they were installed. The technology has existed since the 1970s. Other countries have started adopting them. Singapore's MRT system is a great example, but global rollout has been slow, usually cited as too expensive, which is a strange argument to make about something that stops people from dying. Japan stopped making that argument years ago and just built the doors. Picture the last time you ate alone at a restaurant and felt just slightly awkward about it. Maybe you kept your phone out. Maybe you avoided eye contact. Maybe you asked for a table for one and felt the hostess's sympathetic pause. In Japan, there are restaurants specifically designed for it, called Ichiran ramen shops, or more broadly solo dining restaurants. These spaces feature individual booths, sometimes literally just a chair facing a wall with a bamboo curtain, where a single diner can eat in complete peace. You enter, sit down, fill out a paper order form selecting your exact broth intensity, noodle firmness, richness of the pork, presence of garlic, and about 11 other customizations. You slide the form through a small window in the curtain. A bowl appears. Nobody talks to you. Nobody looks at you. Nobody asks if you're okay eating alone. You eat your perfect personalized bowl of ramen in total privacy and serenity. There is something deeply civilized about this. In many cultures, solo dining carries a residual stigma, the assumption that you're lonely, waiting for someone, somehow less than a complete person without a dining companion. Japan just quietly decided that wasn't a useful attitude and designed around it. The solo booth is not a sad compromise. It's an optimization for focus, comfort, and a truly excellent bowl of noodles. Japan's forest bathing practice, called Shinrin-yoku, sounds like a wellness trend invented for Instagram. It is not. The practice, which involves slow, mindful walking through forested environments with deliberate attention to sensory experience, was officially incorporated into Japan's National Health Program in 1982. There are now 62 officially designated Shinrin-yoku trails across Japan, certified through a research program developed at Nippon Medical School and the Forest Therapy Society. The physiological research behind it is substantial. Regular sessions of forest bathing have been shown to lower cortisol levels, reduce blood pressure, decrease sympathetic nervous system activity, and meaningfully increase natural killer cell activity, the immune cells your body uses to fight viruses and some cancers. The trees are part of the mechanism. Phytoncides, antimicrobial compounds released by trees, are absorbed through the lungs during forest walks and appear to drive some of the immune response. Japan didn't just encourage people to go outside. They mapped the trails, trained the therapists, funded the research, and made it part of official preventive medicine. The rest of the world calls it a walk in the woods. Japan calls it a treatment plan. Here is a sentence that should not be true, but is. The best food you can eat in Japan might be from a convenience store, and not in a surprisingly okay for gas station food way, in a genuinely, critically, enthusiastically good way. Konbini sandwiches in Japan, particularly the egg salad sandwiches sold at 7-Eleven Japan, have been the subject of serious food writing, YouTube tributes, and near-religious devotion from travelers who've tried them. The egg is from specific supplier chains with quality controls. The bread is engineered for moisture retention. The ratio is calibrated. It is, objectively, a very good sandwich sold for about $1.20. And this extends across the entire konbini food offering. Oni. Giri with complex, well-seasoned fillings, odon simmered perfectly in broth, nikumon pork buns steamed fresh throughout the day. Food critics who cover Japan seriously have noted that the average quality floor for convenience store food in Japan is higher than the average quality ceiling for fast casual dining in many Western countries. This isn't hyperbole. It's the result of an intensely competitive convenience store market where the major chains compete directly on food quality, investing heavily in food science, supply chain relationships, and continuous product development. Japan decided that cheap, fast food should still be good. And then they made it happen. Scramble intersections, also called scramble crossings, are used in many countries, but Japan took the format, scaled it wildly, and made it a global landmark. The Shibuya Scramble in Tokyo is the most famous. When the light turns, traffic stops in all directions simultaneously, and roughly 3,000 pedestrians per light cycle cross in every direction at once, straight, diagonal, from every corner to every other corner. It moves an estimated 2.5 million people per day, and it does this with less conflict, fewer accidents, and more efficiency than traditional staggered crossing systems at comparable intersections. The logic is counterintuitive but works, giving pedestrians their own dedicated phase, rather than sharing green lights with turning vehicles, eliminates the primary collision risk point. Japan has installed scramble crossings in high-density urban areas across the country, and the data on pedestrian safety and flow is consistently strong. Other cities, New York, London, Toronto, have begun adopting them at key intersections. But Japan, characteristically, didn't wait for permission or international consensus. They saw a better geometry and they built it. Japan is facing a demographic reality that most of the developed world will eventually confront: an aging population, a shrinking workforce, and physically demanding labor that younger workers aren't filling fast enough. Their response in the construction and manufacturing sectors has been exoskeletons. Companies like Cyberdyne, yes, named after the Terminator company, yes, intentionally, and Panasonic have developed wearable robotic exoskeleton suits that construction workers, warehouse staff, and care workers can wear to reduce physical strain. The Cyberdyne HAL suit, hybrid assistive limb, reads bioelectrical signals from the user's muscles and amplifies their movement, allowing workers to lift, carry, and hold positions that would otherwise cause injury or fatigue. The suits are now in active use at construction sites, elder care facilities, and logistics warehouses across Japan. Japan's Ministry of Health has cleared certain models as medical devices. Workers in their 60s and 70s are extending their working lives using these suits in ways that simply weren't possible before. It's not science fiction deployed as a gimmick. It's a country looking at a real structural problem and reaching for the most effective solution available, even if that solution requires strapping a robot to your back. And then there's this. The thing that might be the most quietly impressive entry on this entire list, because it's not a piece of technology or a building or a food item. It's an attitude. In Japan, there's a concept called Kaizen, which translates roughly as continuous improvement, and it shapes everything from manufacturing processes at Toyota to how hospitals handle patient flow to how schools review their own teaching outcomes. But the piece of Kaizen that deserves global export is what happens when something goes wrong. In Japanese workplace culture, particularly in engineering and service industries, a mistake is treated not as evidence of someone's failure, but as information. When a Shinkansen arrives late, the team doesn't just apologize and move on. They do a structured post-incident analysis, identify the systemic cause, implement a corrective process, and track whether the fix holds. When a product line at a factory produces a defect, the line stops. Any worker can pull the andon cord and halt production, and the problem is examined before manufacturing continues. The system is built on the idea that errors, when investigated properly, make the whole system stronger. There is no blame-first culture. There is a fix-first culture. It's the reason Japanese infrastructure, manufacturing, and service industries consistently perform at the level they do. It's not that they don't make mistakes, it's that they've built a world-class system for learning from them. And if there's one thing from this list that every country, every company, every institution genuinely needs to adopt immediately, it's that. Japan isn't perfect. No country is. But there's something worth paying serious attention to in a place that treats public toilets as architecture, eating alone as a dignified experience, a traffic cone as an opportunity for joy, and a mistake as a gift. These aren't isolated quirks. They're the output of a culture that consistently asks, what's the best version of this thing we could possibly make? And then goes and makes it. If that mindset were contagious, and maybe it is now that you've seen what it produces, the world would look noticeably different. Hit that like button if this made you want to book a flight. Subscribe if you want more deep dives into the innovations and ideas that are quietly reshaping how we live. And check out the next video, because the rabbit hole goes much deeper than 14 items.